Railroads did not just connect a country, they shaped it. They shaped time itself, fueled America's rise in industrial power, and sparked one of the first nationwide labor uprisings. But they also exploited workers, mainly immigrants, and fueled one of the most racist laws in American history. This is the real story behind how the railroads built and broke America. Before the railroads, traveling across America was a slow and brutal task. You either took crowded steamboats, dangerous stagecoaches, or muddy roads that barely qualified as paths. Moving people or goods across the country was almost impossible. As the U.S. pushed westward, it became clear the country needed something stronger and faster, a new way to connect. Enter the railroad. Starting in the 1830s, these steel giants were funded by private investors and a whole lot of government land grants. By the 1800s, trains covered the entire U.S. In fact, the chaotic train schedules is what gave us time zones. Before 1883, every city basically had its own time. Railroads standardized that. They literally changed time. To connect California to the eastern part of the country, the U.S. built the Transcontinental Railroad, but there was a problem: labor shortages. So the Central Pacific Railroad, also known as the CPRR, turned to a workforce many had rejected: Chinese immigrants. Despite being underpaid, earning about 30% less than white workers, and facing brutal conditions in the Sierra Nevada mountains, the Chinese laborers kept going. They weren't just workers, they were foremen, interpreters, and even medical staff. After the last rail was laid in 1869, things turned. Anti-Chinese violence spread. White Americans saw immigrants as job thieves, although they were just trying to make ends meet. In 1882, Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act, the first major law to ban a specific ethnic group from immigrating to the U.S. The Exclusion Act turned into the Geary Act and then turned into a permanent ban. The law stayed on the books for years upon years until 1943. That's 74 years of exclusion, despite the fact that without Chinese workers, the railroad might have never been completed. In 1877, just a few years later, the workers who kept these trains running reached a breaking point. After another round of wage cuts, railroad workers walked off the job, trains stopped, cities froze, and then the violence commenced. In Pittsburgh, a militia opened fire, killing 20 workers. Angered by this, protesters burned down rail yards. It spread all the way to Chicago and St. Louis, shutting down huge parts of the country. The strike failed, but it showed just how much power the workers had and how far the government would go to protect the industry over people. Farmers were upset at times. Railroad companies increased shipping prices, charged different rates to different customers, and even controlled grain storage. It was pure exploitation, unfair and unjust, some would say. So in 1867, farmers formed the Grange, a grassroots movement that pushed for fairness. They built cooperatives, lobbied for regulation, and demanded carriers take our produce at a fair price. Railroads made the second industrial revolution possible. They opened up the West, boosted the economy, and helped create a modern world we live in. But they also left a legacy of exploitation, of workers, immigrants, and of the land itself. The railroads connected America, but at what cost? Is there more we can do to recognize the people who built it and the lives that were broken in the process? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And if you found this story worth sharing, hit like, subscribe, and stick around for more hidden history. Thank you for watching, and I promise I will get better at this.